Lentra and CNBC TV-18 Digital Lending Summit, Mumbai, India.
Let's uncover the strategies for credit card growth, enhancing acquisition, conversions, and usage. I now invite Chitrabhanu KG, Senior Vice President, Country Head, Retail Assets and Cards, Federal Bank. Chitrabhanu has over 25 years of remarkable experience across a spectrum of products, including retail liability, insurance, investment, products, and collection. Joining him on the stage is Hitesh Sahijwaala, EVP, and the central pillar for sales and growth at Lentra, India. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Good afternoon. Are we audible? So, welcome, good afternoon, and welcome to the Coffee with Karan show. Right? Am I sure this is a fire chat with Mr. Chitrabhanu? My apologies, it's not Coffee with Karan. It's the Lentra CNBC Digital Lending Summit, the Breakout Session. We're truly honored to have Federal Bank and Mr. Chitrabhanu out here. I think Federal Bank, most of us are, no one should be asking what is Federal Bank. We all know about it, I'm sure. It's one of the largest private sector banks. And one of the things, Mr. Chitrabhanu, I like about Federal Bank is the messaging. Digital bank with a human face, right? And digital at fore, human at core. I love the messaging, you know, so that's great about it. Mr. Chitrabhanu has already been introduced.
Not only that, rishta aap se hai, aap se nahi.
Absolutely. And the other interesting part, thank you. So, other interesting part is today, you know, during the day you've heard a lot of sessions on lending, digital lending, right? So we thought we will cut ice with a little bit difference and talk more about the strategies for credit card growth. So that's the conversation I'm going to have. We hope this is going to be interesting for all of you without your coffee cups. We hope we can keep you awake because a session has already gone by after the lunch. So after a small snooze and sleep, we all are up and running. So Mr. Chitrabhanu, once again, thanks a lot for sharing the stage with us. It's truly an honor to have you out here. First thing which comes in my mind when we talk about credit card is the RBI report. You know, I'm sure you've seen it. Talks about the penetration rate at 5 to 6%, if I'm correct, because we have around 84 million card users with a population of 1.4 billion. That's one side. The other side, most recently, you've seen RBI raising concerns about unsecured loans, you know. What's your take and view on that? It would be interesting to start the conversation from that.
Thanks, Hitesh. Thanks for having me here, to the entire Lentra team and to the entire CNBC conference. Specifically with regard to your point, you know, credit card as a proposition is a long-term relationship product. It's not actually something like a personal loan wherein you give a loan, maybe after 3 years you expect that the customer closes the loan. But this is more like a daily engagement product where you engage with the customer and, you know, if the customer is not very happy, he goes away. So the kind of blocks or the underwriting guidelines that is generally put by all the card players is comparatively strict. It's not going to be something like you make it very easy for them to get into this. So in that sense, this is a premium product. This has always been a premium product. Maybe that is one reason why the penetration has not been very high. The kind of customer profiles who get it, maybe only in the tier 1 cities. You cannot find sometimes credit cards in some of the lower tier 2, tier 3 cities as of now. So in that sense, the product is not too worrisome, I'm sure, for Reserve Bank of India. Maybe Reserve Bank of India was looking more in terms of personal loans below 50,000, the loans which were offered by a lot of fintech companies, or maybe the apps, when it becomes much easier for you to get a 50,000 loan. So maybe that is the profile of customers which actually Reserve Bank of India is worried about, and not credit cards per se. So I don't think, in spite of the fact that the penetration is not very high, I don't think there is going to be a degrowth in this portfolio. Banks, the lenders will continue to be engaged in this credit card product, and we expect that the growth will continue.
Great. So you're saying there are very good guardrails to protect most of the guidelines?
See, over a period of time, it was all done manually. But now, thanks to the lot of identity capabilities now, I think we can discuss more about it, and the income capabilities which is available now, wherein you know exactly who is Hitesh. I know the identity of Hitesh. I know what is your income available with you, etc. Much more easier now. It becomes easier to offer a product like a credit card. So in that sense, I don't think it's going to be a big challenge. in terms of offering a credit card to the right set of customers. And I'm sure no credit issuer is going to stay away or stay shy from giving a credit card to the right profile of customers.
Excellent. I think that's a very good point. Now, moving forward, all of us have seen India grow from an offline, cash, informal, low productive economy to an online, cashless, formal, high productive economy. We've all seen that. And we've seen the growth of credit cards. You know, I think around 15% from last year, we were around 74 million users. We are at 86 million users, and I think 46 million to 84 in the last 4-5 years. What is your view on some of the critical success factors which has, accelerated the growth of the credit card in India?
Credit card per se is a very interesting product. It's actually a very interesting marriage of a payment product plus a credit product. So you look at any other product, I don't think so. I mean, sometimes we take it for granted what the credit card is, but it marries the best of both, the payment as well as credit. So we know in the last 8 to 10 years, there has been a lot of changes, a lot of improvements in the payment space per se. You have a lot of fintech companies who have innovated in the space. The UPI as a strategy has been, I mean, I don't know, the set of customers who are using UPI on a day in, day out basis is such a huge number. So with all these things, the capability to build a credit card becomes much more higher. So you find a lot of attractive population in terms of fintechs. So you look at it maybe 5 years back, you had only a very few players involved in credit card. Some of the big names,
Correct.
maybe an HDFC, maybe a Citibank, or all of them are only involved in credit cards. But just look at it now. You have a lot of nimble players who are now into the credit card space thanks to technology. So that's been a big defining changer. You look at the other side of it in terms of credit, what I was talking about. Now, what I was earlier also mentioning about, now you have the identity capabilities through Aadhaar. So you, on the flow, in a digital flow, you can actually identify a customer. You can do the KYC of the customer on the flow. Just look at it 7 years back. You had to go physically to the customer, take an identity proof, sign it off, and you're not very sure whether it's the same customer. There is a chance of fraud because most of these DSAs who source these customers are, I don't know how much they're dependable in that sense. But now everything happens digitally. You know exactly who the person is. You're able to do a KYC of the customer. You do a video KYC of the customer. Add to it, on the credit side, you know exactly what is the financial status of this customer. Now, what I heard that we have spoken in the morning about the aggregators, etc. Now, you know the income status of the customer. You know the entire savings account portfolio comes at the click of a button. And you know exactly what the portfolio is. You know what the income offers, what the cash flow is. You have the GST returns. So all these data which is available at the click of the button has resulted in a lot of new nimble players coming to this platform, along with all these bigger players. So I'm sure even these bigger players have now changed. They have a lot of digital first approach which has come into it. So all this is resulting in a larger number of, reaching out to a larger number of profile of customers where you may not have been able to reach. So you know, maybe you see a Hitesh, you know, yes, he is a good customer for it. But there are a large set of customers in India and Bharat whom were not offered a credit card, which now is going to be a possibility. Thanks to the availability of digital technology, the phone, the mobile by itself has become now an option to reach out to customers. So this, I think, is going to be the biggest bet in the next 10 years, wherein everything is going to happen digitally, where you're going to reach out to the customers digitally, and physical is just going to be to do that last bit of conversion. So I feel that credit card as a proposition is going to only grow thanks to all these ecosystem changes which has happened in the last 3-4 years.
No, I think I couldn't agree more. So if I may just summarize it, are you saying the digital public infrastructure is one of them, technology is second of them, and I call it the information collateral. You know, we used to do asset collaterals before. We moved from the asset collateral world to the information collateral. These are 3 success factors, you know. Just taking an extension, you mentioned about these critical success factors. Now, you also heard and definitely know about the UPI credit card. Nobody, out here, everyone knows about the fame of UPI, not only in India, but globally. In the month of August, I think we did around 10 billion transactions in volumes with 15 trillion of value. You must have heard this the 100th time or the 1000th time. But that's a huge growth which is happening. And UPI today has got around 300 million customer base, if I'm correct, estimated. And credit cards have around 86 billion. How do you think UPI credit card is going to accelerate the growth and fill in the void?
UPI as a proposition has not caught the attention of India, and not only India, across the world. So thanks to a lot of people now using this as a payment option, marrying this UPI to credit card is going to only explode the opportunity of this credit card business. That's what I feel about it. There's going to be huge opportunities in that sense because presently it was more like a push product. So you have a sales guy who goes to the customer and tries to push him a credit card. But now we can see that practically it's going to be a big pull product. I've heard from some of the big issuers that they're offering now RuPay cards on the fly as an add-on card to the present card. So if you have maybe a 1 crore customer base who's got a MasterCard or a Visa card, they are offered a digital card which is a RuPay card. And large set of customers are taking it every month on month. So we expect that this is going to be a huge boom for the country. The biggest advantage is that you have merchants from maybe the minimum number of merchants which is available in the ecosystem to millions of merchants, the MSME customers, the MSME merchants, etc., who will now use your card. Yes, there are going to be challenges in terms of the MDR and all those things which is coming, but I'm sure at some point of time all this will come into some discussion and negotiation, and then we'll be able to reach at a right number. But it's going to be an exciting journey in this entire story of UPI linkage to credit cards. It's going to be a wonderful story. In the next 2 years, you're going to see it. A real change is going to come in this credit card business because of this. That's what is my feeling about it.
I don't think so. It's not that I would not disagree with you, but I think I tend to totally agree with you. If you look at the POS terminals today, it was 70 lakh POS terminals, if I'm correct, right? And UPI is going to offer you 210 million or 21 crore UPI QR codes.
Very true. Very
to
true.
access
yes.
credit cards.
So you don't even require a card now. The form factor is gone. You just require a mobile and you can go to any place and you can start using it. So that's the biggest advantage. Presently, you could do it only from your account. Now from that, you're moving out into another proposition where you have a Google Pay. You can use the same proposition and you can use it credit card and pay. So I'm sure it's going to be a huge change.
30x the growth is what you can see that,
Very true.
It's good business for Federal Bank and for Lentra.
Hope so.
So just moving on a bit, we heard some of the critical success factors, great, but it's always a double-edged sword, right? You have growth, success factors, benefits. What are some of the headwinds or roadblocks? For me as an individual, the headwind is nothing much. My wife and son start spending more on credit cards. My balance sheet starts dipping. But overall, what's your view? What are some of the headwinds from a technology perspective or an ecosystem perspective? And do you think not Lentra alone, but technology partners like Lentra have a role to play in your credit card journeys?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. And I think somewhere I had mentioned about this earlier also. So from what we used to do physically before, now it's become a digital first approach. Maybe some of the players like us, we just started off 2 or 3 years back. And in that sense, we could start off digital straight away. So I'm sure the kind of experience we have had with Lentra, we straight away have engaged with Lentra in terms of the loan origination system. And I don't know how much of you participants are aware about it. For all our pre-approved customers, just in 3 clicks, the customer is able to get a digital card. So there's nothing more required. Can you think of it maybe 5 years back or 7 years back when you had this physical application flowing in? You have an existing customer, he goes directly into the Lentra flow and you just have to give some basic details. You do an OTP flow and you have a card digital in the mobile banking platform of Federal Bank. It's called as Fed Mobile. The customer is able to transact right from the next minute. So was that an opportunity before? No, it was never there. So I believe that digital is going to be the way forward. The point which you mentioned about why a customer should now choose a card is going to be based upon this. Because everybody is now spoiled for options. And for all the new millennial customers or maybe the Gen Z customers, they are born with a digital in their mouth. I'm sure and they don't see anything but digital. So they have used the Amazons, they have used the Ubers, and they expect this platform also to be as good as that, if not better. So immediately if you find that it's not that way, they just move out of it. I'm sure none of these new customers, maybe the 30s and 40s, and not only that, even most of us now also have got used to maybe a Netflix or an Amazon. We don't want anything different from that. So if you are available on the same level as that of these Amazons of the world, then yes, you can give an experience to the customer. So I believe the biggest challenge is going to be to benchmark not internally to other players, but to benchmark to all these digital platforms of the world. And that's going to be the biggest challenge where we may need to involve other technology partners. We may need to involve That's what we have been doing across. So who will be able to sit over our platform and then give the customers the necessary experiences? So this is where I'm sure the world is moving towards, where you will have maybe a co-branded card, wherein the card, the bank or the card issuer is going to be basically the management of the customer, but it's over this sitting a platform which will work directly with the customer and engage with the customer and ensure that he gets that best experience which is expected of these Gen Z customers.
Yeah, if I may just...
Yes, true. There are other challenges, etc., which I'm sure, like for example, once a RuPay card comes, you will have a lot of pull factors from maybe from a comparatively low, I won't call them lower end customers, but customers who may not have income in their books, who may not be showing income in their books. So these are challenges we have to live with, and we have to come up with surrogate programs. But I'm sure all those can be, we should be able to find ways and solutions. But the biggest, I believe, is going to be to ensure that you are able to reach out and benchmark with that set of platforms.
No, that's perfect. And I also recollect Mr. Ramesh here from Mahindra Finance, in the earlier sessions. I think one important point he said, you have to be relevant to the customer, Competition will keep coming. You will have multiple players coming. But just one more point, and, you are the best judge. It's not I'm trying to preach to the choir. What do you feel about the MDR, the merchant discount rate? Because MDRs, if you look at it in UPI, is not there. On debit cards, if I'm correct, is 0.9%. And there's no cap on MDR for credit card. Do you see, could you throw some light on that?
I think we'll have to wait and watch in this. So there are a lot of merchants, they are used to not giving an MDR, especially in the UPI space. But subsequent to the fact that now credit card is also becoming a part of the wallet of this customer, and he goes back to the merchant and says that, yes, there is an MDR. We are hearing about a lot of challenges and concerns. But at some point of time, I'm sure both of them will work together and we'll arrive at a figure which is, I think, commensurate to both of them. I don't know what is going to be the number. From 1.75, it can come down a little bit. But I'm sure there's going to be a number. But for a bank, it's not just MDR which is important. It's also the interest income that he earns. There are a lot of other opportunities to cross-sell to the customer, etc. So I'm sure this is just going to be one small factor. It might be a deterrent over a short term, but over a medium term, I'm sure that this will come. We will cross over this. Because as a product proposition, this is going to be something very interesting, very attractive.
Thanks. I think I tend to agree with you there. I know we are around the time, but I have I think I have 3 minutes more. And my last question would be, India is a huge population. It's a, it's a benefit also, and it's a challenge also, right? With the growth happening, and primarily still the credit access to a lot of the larger population is still a concern, And we do see this being a big challenge for the MSME market. You have, I think, 60 million odd MSME customers. How do you think credit card can help in accelerating the growth of the MSME business? Do you think that's a fair point? Do you think there's a good direction for them to go?
I think you're talking of the corporate cards and the cards which is available for that segment of customers. Yes, over the last 10 years, maybe there was a kind of focus on this card, but it was all muted and more towards the corporate customers. So rather than going to this MSME set of customers. But some level of focus has now started. Both the IBA, the NPCI, etc. started giving some focus on this business card wherein you should be able to give offerings to this customer. And for a bank, in some sense, a commercial card to an MSME customer is sometimes even better than a working capital loan which he gives to him, because you have a visibility of his cash flows. Maybe if you give him a working capital, he takes it in cash, you don't know where it is being used. But sometimes in this, you know the exact end use of the customer because the entire transaction happens digitally. So thanks to now this UPI on credit coming in place, this is going to be a very huge opportunity. And from the customer, there's going to be a lot of benefits because he gets discounts on the platform. He gets even points, which maybe a credit card customer gets, an individual gets. The same points he's able to get. So there are a lot of opportunities for him also in that sense. And for a bank, this is a big convenience because he knows what the customer is doing. He knows how much more he can increase the limits over a period of time. The underwriter is in that sense very happy. And in terms of initial underwriting also, you have digital opportunities like what I mentioned about GST. You know how much of business that the customer is doing. So I believe that in the next 2-3 years, the commercial cards to the MSME segment is something which is also going to take a leap. So I think this is going to be a good opportunity for us to grow in that space.
Great. So I think that's wonderful conversations with you, Mr. Chitrabhanu. I would really like to thank Federal Bank and you for spending your valuable time out here, investing your time. Truly appreciate it. I hope this will be useful for the conversations moving forward. Thank you very much, and I think we are 1 minute ahead of the time. So thank you for your patience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Lentra and CNBC TV-18 Digital Lending Summit, Mumbai, India.